Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This is BSL 20 Hasuleague round of 8, the second match of the quarterfinals between White and Bayaster, whose name's a little bit less visible here if we move it into the kind of a little bit. This is navy color officially in the Brood War color set. Very, or yes, royal blue is another name for it, but anyway, but it makes it harder to see the name. It'd be interesting if they just added a little bit of white outline or black outline depending on the color so that you could really, so it would pop. I think we're going to see some cheese here because that was a very fast probe movement. White, by the way, starting the bottom left hand corner as the white probe toss. This is on Eclipse. And we're definitely, so this is probably going to be, is this going to be proxy cannons? I'm expecting proxy 2 gate, but the way this probe is moving, it looks like it wants to go for proxy cannons in the main, which is like the oldest, never mind, it's going to be proxy 2 gate dropping at the, wow, at the natural expansion. Just hoping that White goes for a later scout. And that also that he opts for, there's a risk that he's hoping that he's not going for 9 gate himself, and also hoping that he wasn't going for 10 or 11, 12 gate. So there's the 10 gate. Probe actually checking the corner. It's going to start it's going to make its way down unless Bayaster gets the blockade, which he's not. That proxy gateway is now spotted by White. White did see that, right? He's proceeding forward though, and still grabbing his gas. Very brave. Well, never mind. Grabbed his gas, cancel it initially. Manor Pylon able to block in at least a worker. So something in the midst of this. The probe actually holding short. Second gateway has been dropped here from White. And now the question is, does the gateway get canceled? And we just sacrifice a pylon and try to deal with the 2 gate. Second Manor Pylon drop. I presume with this pylon completing, no, we're going to see some proxy shield batteries on top of everything else. And that's the play. It's just going to be heads up micro cheese versus micro cheese, but no additional gateway planted unless we're going to see a gateway in the main here from Bayaster. But just as far as raw production, this is now 2 gate versus 1 gate, though the distance is closed. This worker able to sneak through for White, so we will be able to get some follow-up information in the midst of this. But Bayaster pretty heavily invested now in the forward attack. He's disrupted a lot of the mining with the manor pylons, but not enough where these zealots are not going to get constructed. The first zealot making its way in, so it's going to be 1 zealot versus 1 zealot. The probe's potentially exposed, but very quickly this is going to be 3 zealots versus 1 zealot, and then well, actually 3 zealots versus 2 zealots depending on timing here. 1 probe has been wiped out, so thus far everything mostly going in Bayaster's favor. Second zealot out, however, second zealot making its way up, and the zealots are having trouble. They're attacking the pylons rather than grouping up and dealing with the zealots as an attack force in the forward front. Looks like another gateway is being planted in the main here. 3 zealots versus 2 right this second. It's going, that will increase in number as far as the follow-up. Another pylon dropped here to create a little bit less breathing room, but it looks like another probe. Oh, never mind. Probe gets gets picked off. Kind of scattered. White's economy, by the way, absolutely shattered in the midst of this. He's got 11 workers versus 17. He's able to clear up a pylon. That's not going to cause. It's actually interesting because of these manor pylons, it forces the probes to kind of mine in a pattern where they end up a little bit more exposed to the zealots in this backfield. 5 zealots, accidentally attacking his own pylon there. 5 zealots versus 4 now, but a 8 worker lead. Wow, 9 worker lead. White over Bayaster. It looks like Bayaster getting it done. He's also dropping 2 additional gateways in his main as far as a follow-up. And White still I'm not sure if he's just missed probes or it's been the probe death. Another probe going down. I think these zealots are finally pinned in, but getting another additional, wow. Bayaster honestly putting on a clinic right here. 7 workers versus 21. Oh, man. 5 zealots standing. But honestly, I think Bayaster did it with all of that assault. Unless he gets some miracle micro working for him. Yeah, the zealots just making their way out onto the map now. They've got to. That's but 2 zealots are now in the main. Assimilator is up. Now it is Bayaster's job to sit back and defend. He's got 2 zealots, 2 probes waiting. It's going to be, and White's on a timer, a massive timer, because look at that differential. These 4 zealots are going to be slow to group up, and honestly, it might be 5v5. Bit of a supply block. Might be 5v5 by the time they get over there. This pylon's going to get taken down. Another Zealot eking out to go ahead and join the front. The rest of them grouping up, but and a shield battery getting dropped at the close location. I don't think the shield battery is going to be an issue here. 2 versus 1. One Zealot getting picked off. A little bit of a shuffle. Nice shuffle and a rapid shuffle there from White. Bayaster, by the way, still in the red because of the additional Manor Pylon. But the shield battery up, so I take it back. It does end up being a factor. 4 versus 2 with some probes to support. And I think that's going to be it, because now, so 4 Zealots make it into the main. One of them severely weakened. Bayaster with the Manor able to make it happen. 2 Zealots need to get 12 or 11 worker kills. I just don't see it happening. There's 1, so we'll count it off here. And we also are going to have Dragoons and not too terribly long here. Zealots trying to run around as best they can. Once the gateway's unpowered, that Zealot might join the fray. Would be wise actually by Bayaster to go ahead and blockade the ramp. I think this is we'll just walk this one out though. Another Zealot getting caught is just a wow. This guy's friends with Styx right here. The river Styx, he knows that river. 3rd gateway plopping down. This Zealot gonna go ahead and try to retreat. Maybe if White drops a rapid natural expansion. So he's gonna go, he's saved enough minerals. 16 versus 24, huge worker lead. Also a massive, and this is maybe transitioning, yeah, 3-gate robo as far as the transition. Supply is a massive advantage for Bayaster. I don't think White, he does have a forge up. So maybe we see 2 cannons alongside this, and so we got 4 Zealots, 5th Zealots out on the field heavily damaged versus 6 Zealots and Dragoons that are starting to field in. Range is going to be finished. Robotics in the midst of this. The robotics yeah, it's going to be, we're hitting the DT button here for White. That's the emergency mode. When in doubt. But we do have the robotics, and I believe that's going to be an observatory for sure. And there's no way the DTs are going to be in time. So basically what White is going to have to rely on, he's going to have to hope, absolutely hope, that his opponent is out of position for the fielding Dark Templar. Dragoons getting some free shots here on the Dragoons before that cannon wall is there, and as a result the Zealots, well, actually able to get some free shots, but it looks like they're going to get walked out. We do have the Zealot sneaking top left for unknown reasons. The Zealots now turning around as at least a cannon is complete. The Dragoons should be able to confirm that there are cannons down here on the front. I still think Bayaster has enough to break this. And even then, he doesn't need to. He just needs to get, yeah, Observer out. There's the shuttle constructing. We do not have, yeah, we have the Templar Archives, and we didn't have enough money to get the, we have the Citadel of Adun. We didn't have enough money for the Templar Archives, so the Templar Archives coming out late. And now we've got a massive army for Bayaster that can honestly just sit as a contain unit. 4th cannon getting dropped. I think that's his best play here. He's going for it though. Just diving in. 1 cannon down. 2nd cannon gonna get picked off. Probes pulling off the lines to try to help defend this. Cannon finishes isn't complete, and now it looks like Zealot cleared up. 1 heavily damaged Dragoon in the midst of this. The probes trying to defend as best they can. Honestly, I feel like Bayaster and the Zealot actually sneaking its way back to the natural. Sees no natural. Opposite end. Probes going to have to exit that natural expansion. 2 Dark Templar in construction. But 5 Dragoons remain. They actually, if they focus fire that Nexus, they should be able to get it. Now the Dark Templar are going to be a prevention of a game-ending scenario. No focus fire on the gateways right this second. More units walking their way across to finish this up. Hail Mary right here, and keep in mind there's an observer as well. Dark Templar out. Are they going to be in time to save the gateways? 1 Dragoon down. This is also unfortunately forewarning. 1 Dragoon sacrificing itself to try to save the rest. And Bayaster now in retreat. His natural expansion constructing. He's still way ahead. The observer halfway finished. Is there another observer that's already out in the map? Looks like it's holding right this second. honestly, Bayaster being a little bit over, in my opinion, a little bit over aggressive there. Granted, he could have ended it. It was close to ending, but there was a potential throw right there. And it doesn't matter though, because with this observer and this many dragoons out in the front, it's still over. And these Dark Templar need a miracle, absolute miracle. We did see the miracle game 1. Probe gets picked off. 1 Dark Templar down. I'm gonna guess once this Dark Templar is killed, that'll be GG from white. He might hold on just because he has that natural expansion in place, but it's just a matter of time now. Supply differential is huge. 43 to 71. 3 more cannons getting dropped. Few dragoons that I don't even think... Yeah, range is not finished here. Range is upgrading for white. White in dire straits. Going up to 4 gateway in the midst of this. We have 3 gateways, also Reaver, and the Reaver should be able to wipe out the cannons. And dragoons still in large enough numbers where they can maybe get some against the, well, so 3 dragoons versus 3 dragoons, 3 cannons versus 6 dragoons, and you have 2 Dark Templar on the wings. Probably not something that Bayaster wants to dive here, but it doesn't matter. He's already grabbing that 1 o'clock base. This is the play. Grab that 1 o'clock, move the Reaver to the front. Just make sure that we don't have any leakage on any aspect. You could actually move the Reaver into the main, because right now, with some High Templar produce, no Psy Storm. Because there's honestly nothing that white can do as far as army spread. This also works as well. There's not a lot that white can do as far as stopping the Reaver from slowly pecking away at the cannons. Once these cannons are gone, you can dive into the main. White on a thread and a prayer here, waiting for Psy Storm to upgrade. And even then, if this succeeds, he still has to worry about that additional base establishing itself. A huge economic lead for Bayaster. He does have more gateways, and if Psy Storm completes, if he gets Psy Storm on the Reaver and some Psy Storm across the Dragoons, maybe then. But right now he's only got 2 Psy Storms to work with. Both of those have to land on the Reaver, and it doesn't look like does not look like he's going to be able to save his cannons in the midst of this. Might be able to pick off the shuttle over that high wall. Got some shots on it. And actually that might make the Psy Storm all the more formidable. Bayaster actually boxing a lot of it, barely escapes with that shuttle. Shuttle sweeping back around. It is also friends with the River Styx. Not sure why I'm using that phrase today. Reaver's gone. But without Psy Storm to support and an Archon with just 18 shield health, I still think Bayaster in a fine position here, because white's not going to be able to apply any counter pressure. Bayaster can afford to lose these units. He's already got his 1 o'clock base up and running. He just needs to fill in the gateway count. Drop another handful of gateways, and that should be that. +1 weapons, by the way, upgrading. For him, he's getting his own Zealot leg speed. Observer checking things out. Wondering if Bayaster recognizes that recognizes his worker position as well. That he's very, very far ahead. 5 gateways, by the way. If I was white at this stage, honestly, maybe the 8 flood would be the solution here. Does he have an observer of his own? I don't even know that he can. He doesn't have a robotics. I forgot about that. Might want to sneak a Zealot out on the map just to try to gauge what's going on. Opposite corner. Observer is checking out things for Bayaster, just making sure no additional bases have been secured. Bayaster moving out with a Reaver and a Dragoon. I feel like this is, I mean, it might as well because he's so far ahead, but at the same time feels like a little bit of a risk just because that shuttle could get picked off. Gonna pay off though. Wow. If he wasn't economically ahead before, he's certainly economically ahead now. He's gonna get some bonus shots on this as well. Some additional hits. Dragoon's now flooding in. They should be able to wipe out that shuttle. Gets the Reaver and the Dragoon in the midst of this, but white's economy, where it was hobbling before, it no longer has kneecaps. It is got to keep those legs wrapped and stiffed as he's doing the zombie shuffle is what's coming on, what's going on right now. He's doing rah, rah. Starting to make his way out on the map. His army's actually sizably equivalent here, because if you do some math, you do the math. You can see there's about 20-ish difference between here, and you can deduct 20, which means white's actually got a pretty sizable attack force. However, we have Zealot leg speed, +1 weapons, some High Templar, and a lot of gateways behind this. Also two cannons here, 2 cannons there. So it would be very, very challenging for white to get a turnaround assault anywhere. Looks like he's escorting a probe out on the map. Maybe his best shot is sneaking an expansion that's... I think this is calculated. He's moving it out. I think he's going to make his way to the 9 o'clock. We have an observer that's already checking that location. Actually, 2 are... it looks like white lost perspective of his workers. Could just be scouting for an army out here, but I think he is planning on moving up and going ahead and grabbing this 3rd base, but that is coming significantly later. And he's still down 19 workers. This probe making its way up is going to be able to confirm the 1 o'clock location. And this is kind of one of those moments here for white. Walks up, sees the Nexus, and has to wonder how long that was in production. I think that is going to trigger the assault from white. Very much a Hail Mary. He's really got to micro his brains out here, because +1 weapons. Leading, we've got, I think, more High Templar with potentially more energy. Never mind, slightly more energy on white side, so we might have an additional Psystorm or 2 to work with. And he does have an Archon, but this is honestly just more at this stage for Bayaster. And it's well positioned as well. He's going to have to walk into fire to make this happen. And there's all of those gateways that are producing really rapidly behind this. So we see the engagement now. High Templar, and this is very bunched up army. Good Psystorms across the bulk of white's attack force. Zealots also able to get right on top of those Dragoons. And white's army melting. Just going to call GG right there. And that will be game 2 to Bayaster. Takes the lead in the series as we move on to game 4. We're going a little bit back and forth here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.